Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Lee and I'm a board certified behavior analyst or a BCBA. Today we're going to have a DIY workshop to create visual schedules. We're going to be talking about what are visual schedules, why they're so important, and how to create our very own picture routine or visual schedule. As always, my goal is to present this information in a way that's easy and digestible for you. I want to make sure that you walk away today with some new ideas and some new tools that you can use immediately. If you do enjoy today's webinar, I plan to talk a little bit about our VillageED program. This webinar itself is a part of our VillageED program, but we have many other webinars and many other resources that we're super excited to share with you. So please stay tuned for more details on that. With all that being said, let's get started. On our agenda today, we're going to be talking about what is a visual schedule, why it's so important, the DIY workshop of how to create a visual schedule, and some additional tools and resources. So let's begin by understanding what a visual schedule is. A visual schedule is a sequence of pictures, icons, or illustrations that demonstrate the steps in a routine or an activity. It can outline expectations for the day, like a daily agenda, or for a specific period of the day, like a morning routine or an evening routine, or a bedtime routine, or steps of a complex task, like steps to washing hands, steps to making a sandwich. And over here, we can see three different examples of the visual schedules that I just discussed. So the first one is a daily agenda. This is something that we use a little bit more commonly. And this one in particular in the illustration is something that we commonly see in an elementary school classroom. So it kind of outlines the agenda for the day. The second example is a morning or an evening routine. If you have a tightly packed day, then what I recommend is breaking that down into a morning and an evening routine. If your learner is too overwhelmed with too many icons on the page, then definitely use morning or evening routine. The third one is a little bit different. There's steps to a complex task. This one in particular is on hand washing, but we can create a visual step-by-step task for making a sandwich or baking a cake or washing your hair, brushing your teeth for any complex task. So let's talk about why they're so important. Some benefits of a visual schedule include predictability. So it tells you what to expect and when to expect it. It also supports transitions. If you have a learner or a student or a child who has difficulty transitioning from one location to another or one activity to another, visual schedules work great. They're also great for visual learners. I'm a visual learner myself. Visual schedules work great for me. It allows self-management and independence as well. So instead of you having to verbally remind them and constantly remind them of the next activity, the visual schedule itself serves as a reminder. So all you have to do is direct your learner or your child to the visual schedule, and he or she can independently guide themselves throughout the day. It also supports planning, organization, and time awareness skills and allows customization and adaptability. And we'll talk about customization in the next few slides. So icon is something that we can use to customize. This is a consideration. So use icons that clearly represent the activity or task. We want to choose visuals that are familiar and meaningful to the learner. It's not just something that looks nice or is meaningful to you. It has to be tailored for the individual using the visual schedule. If necessary, take real life photos to increase recognition and understanding. So here in the example, we have 4 different icons, and they technically mean the same activity. They represent the same activity, but you can see that I have put different wordings and phrases for the activity itself to show you that if you are to use toothbrushing as the word to talk about the activity regularly, then I would definitely use the word that's a little bit more familiar to them. If you use brush teeth, maybe that's a phrase that you use often. Maybe put that in your icon. You can take pictures like the first icon of the specific items that are related to the task, like the toothbrush and the toothpaste here, and we can use different illustrations as well. Another consideration is on customization, mainly about the format of the visual schedule. So choose a format that matches the learner's levels and need. Limit number of steps based on attention and processing skills. We want to make sure that it's not too overwhelming or they're distracted. We also want to consider portability as needed. You can place them on walls, on binders. We can also put them on the fridge door. Just think about portability and how it works for your learner, and update and expand as the learner gains independence. So the first one that we see here is a first and then board. This is something that we use when we first introduce a visual schedule, and this is commonly used with our younger ones in preschool or kindergarten. It only has two activities. It shows you what to do first, and then an activity what to expect afterwards, just the first and then. And as we go through each of the activity, you constantly change the icons. The second is a morning routine or a second or evening routine that we discussed before. The third is a daily agenda. It kind of outlines the entire day. This is something that we will be creating today in our workshop. And lastly, we have a written format. This is mainly appropriate for like middle school students or high school students. But again, age doesn't really matter. Whatever matches your the developmental level of your child, I would definitely tailor it for that. Another consideration are the way that we introduce these visual schedules. We want to make sure that it makes sense for them, and we want to make sure that it's familiar for them. So in the initial phases, we want to remind your child when to check the schedule and when to move the icons, as in from the to do to all done. And repeatedly present the icons and activities together. We want to make sure that they know which icons represent which activities. In the beginning of each day, what I would do is I would review the daily schedule with your child. If you're a teacher or a parent, go through the daily schedule with a visual schedule, especially if you have any special events, any parties, any outings, any doctor's appointment in there. Definitely talk about that in the beginning. Also, make the visual schedule easy accessible to your child. So, portability, of course, but also place them on walls if you have to put them on desks, on binder. Think about where to put, because we want to make sure that they're able to see the icons moving from to do to all done. And we want to have them see what's next. Also, establish rewards and incentives for completion of all tasks. We want to make it fun. We want to make it exciting and motivating for them. So, if in the beginning stages, if you want to make it a little bit more fun, what you can do is you can provide a token or a stamp or a sticker every time they finish an activity. And as they get used to that, maybe you can increase that to providing a big reward at the end of the day if they have finished all of their tasks, like 30 minutes extra time with video games, extra time on the TV. Maybe we can have like a family board game night, just something extra for them to earn and look forward to. And lastly, provide lots of praise and be consistent. I wanted to talk a little bit about evidence-based research supporting these visual schedules because I want to show you how important these are. So this is a literature review that reviewed many different studies and research done on visual schedules. And based on their review, it shows that visual schedules definitely increase on task behaviors or academic related engagement, especially with individuals with autism. So visual schedules are shown, this is proof that it definitely works for our kiddos to be a little bit more engaged and to move from one task to another and complete them. So let's talk about the DIY portion, how to create a visual schedule. I wanted to talk a little bit about the materials that are needed for this. So of course we need a printer, we need a laminating machine, a laminating sheet, and Velcro stickers. And I've noticed in the past that some parents need a little bit of a guidance to show them which brand or which product works best for their child. So I thought it might be appropriate to show you some suggested products that I personally use and I personally recommend to other parents and teachers. So in terms of the laminating machine, we have the machine from Scotch. This is the one that I use for personal use. The price is a little bit high, but most of the time it is on sale. I got it for about $20, $30. On Prime Day on Amazon, it was about $30. We also have many affordable ones too. So this one is from Amazon Basics. This one is half the price. It's about $28. Technically, what you're looking for is a laminating machine that's about 9 inch, so it covers a full paper. We also want to make sure that it's for different thickness. I'm going to talk about the thermal pouches in a moment, but we are going to purchase a thermal pouch that's 3 mil in thickness. So we want to make sure that it's a laminating machine for that. If you're looking for something a little bit more cost efficient, if you're someone who doesn't really use laminating machine too often, this might be appropriate for you. It's by Bonsai. It's about $19, $20. The reviews are pretty promising. It's pretty reliable. It looks durable. So check your options out and whatever works for you, go for it. We have these laminating sheets as well. They're also called thermal laminating pouches. Again, we want the thickness to be 3 mil. You can use different thickness as well, but personally for me, for everyday use, especially with a visual schedule like this, I would use 3 mil. This one in particular is from the brand Scotch. Usually, when you purchase a laminating machine, it kind of comes with a few laminating sheets together. But if you don't, go ahead and purchase a few. I have another one here that I wanted to recommend from Nuova. This is another one that I've used in the past. It works just as great. It's reliable, it's durable. There's 100 pages in or 100 sheets in this pack. Again, 3 mil in thickness. Lastly, we want Velcro stickers, of course, because we want to make sure that it sticks on. This one is from the Velcro brand itself. There's probably 125 pairs. We want both sides, right? The rough, pointy one and the soft, fuzzy one. So usually they kind of come out in different pairs. If you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, we have this one on Amazon for $3.99. So look at different options. If you don't need too much of them, go for cheaper options. So let's make our own. Once this webinar is done, it will be updated on our VillageED website, and you'll be able to find this recording on villageed.org past events. And there you can see an option for you to download an attachment that I provided. If you do download that attachment, you're going to see 3 pages on there. The first one is just a refresher, a recap of today's webinar. The last 2 pages are the visual schedule itself. This is what you want to print. Step 2, we want to collect all the materials. So let's say that I got my laminating machine, I got my Velcro stickers, I printed the visual schedule out, I have my thermal laminating pouches. And step 3, we want to laminate the visual schedule. So I put those printed paper in the thermal pouches and I run it through the laminating machine. And then what you want to do is you want to cut the visual icons. Here in this example, I didn't round my corners, but personally, those sharp edges are a pet peeve just because it kind of gets in your fabric, or I'm also afraid that it might cut or scratch my learner or my student. So if you have time, go ahead and round those corners when you cut these. Step 5, attach the soft fuzzy side on the Velcro stickers on the schedule chart. It really doesn't matter which side you stick on the visual schedule. I just recommend the soft fuzzy side on the visual schedule itself, just in case you put them in binders or on the wall. And when you just kind of put your fabric past it, sometimes it gets caught. If you tend to walk over it, or if your child kind of uh, happens to scratch themselves, we don't want that to happen. So use the soft fuzzy side of the Velcro stickers on the visual schedule. Step 6, attach the rough pointy side, the other side of the Velcro sticker, on the visual icons. And step 7, set up your schedule and use a dry erase marker to add time. So what's really great about these laminating sheets is that you can use a dry erase marker and use it as a whiteboard. So you can put all the time on there, and if anything changes, you can erase, you can rewrite. So it works as a whiteboard. So go ahead and purchase a dry erase marker, or if you have one, use them to include any time, any other information on the visual schedule. So once that's done, you should see something that looks like this. I have three different examples here. So the first one is a daily agenda. This one goes from about 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can use this as a full day schedule, but you can also, just like my second and third example, you can use it as a morning routine or an evening routine. If you have a tightly packed day, go for a morning and an evening routine, keep them separated, or you don't even have to use up all the space. If you only want to have a few icons on the visual schedule, just so that you don't want to overwhelm the learner or the student, go ahead and just do a morning routine, put just a few icons at a time. And step 8, of course, have fun using the visual schedule. So move the icons from to do to all done as you go through or your learner completes each task. I've noticed that my students love to move the icons from one column to another. I think it's just kind of rewarding for them. So if you want to have them engaged, definitely have them engage in that process. So I did talk a little bit about customization. If the attachment that I provided might not work for your child or your student, that's completely fine. I want to make sure that whatever visual schedule you use works best for you and your child. So these are just other options that you can look at. We have one on canva.com. This is a website that I use most often for my PowerPoints or any of my visuals. So as a BCBA, I'm constantly making visual schedules, tokens, reminders, any visual supports I create with Canva. So this is really great. You can look for different templates that's already made by other people, and you can just modify them as you go, or you can just create one from scratch. We also have one from TPT, teacherspayteachers.com. If you search visual schedules, you'll see a lot of different options. And if you're able to filter out, just like what I did, to show only the free options, you'll see a lot of different options on there. So these are all free options for you to just download and just laminate and use for your own purposes. If you're interested in electronic apps for your phone or your iPad, ChoiceWorks is an app that I recommend most often to other parents. This is $25, but there's a lot of great reviews. A lot of parents with children with autism or Down syndrome, they use these ChoiceWorks app to help them go through their schedule. A lot of parents who are doing homeschooling also use this visual schedule too. So if you're interested, just browse through and see how the app might work for you. If you want something that's already pre-made, that's completely fine too. Look on Amazon. There's a lot of great ones that you can use for schools and homes. There's also a few in Target. So some additional tools and resources. This is where I get to introduce a little bit about our VillageED program. We have a lot of exclusive benefits. And like I said, this webinar itself is a part of our VillageED program. We provide expert guidance with IEPs. I know IEPs are challenging sometimes. I know a lot of people seek for help and assistance with that. We have IEP specialists who can provide that guidance and recommendation for you. We also have a private community where you can network and connect with other parents. We have an entire resource library full of different pamphlets and printouts that you can use, which I will go over in a few slides. And we have on-demand support from educational specialists. And by educational specialists, I'm talking about a BCBA like myself. There's speech pathologists, occupational therapists, we have psychologists, we have RSP teachers, all ready to help you. All you have to do is book a one-on-one consultation, and we will be able to meet with you virtually. So this is available for all parents and families nationwide. If you're interested in visiting our website and learning a little bit more about us, our website is villageed.org. That's VillageED.org. If you're able to navigate through that website, you're going to see some past recorded events. You're going to see about 20 different webinars that have been recorded in the past. If you would like to check those out, we have them on many different topics. So please feel free to look at them. In our visitor resource library, of course, we have hundreds of different resources on there. We have some on parent education and behavior management, where it's kind of like a lesson plan or an informative pamphlet for you to use and teach different skills. We have these on math and reading, learning readiness, academic, downloads that you can use and print out. We have some on communication and adaptive living skills. And I think these would work best, especially during the summer when you're spending a little bit more time with your children and your students. So that sums up our webinar. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you just want to learn a little bit more about us, our website is again villageed.org. If you have questions, please email us at simplesped@xcomweb.com. You can feel free to call us with our phone number attached. If you have any direct questions for myself, I have my work phone number listed there as well. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.